Could you come over? Because that's where they sit.
Okay.
They're like cats. They have a warm spot. Sorry.
That's one way to put it.
It's a safe spot. Okay, I will call to order the City Infrastructure Committee meeting. And as far as roll call goes, I guess I'm the only one.
I'll
Here.
Councilor Casper?
Here.
Councilor Kretzer?
Here.
Councilor Kelly?
Here.
Councilor Armstrong?
Here.
Mayor Reed?
Present.
Oh, well, I guess we have a section for public comments, because I didn't do it like this before. So, are there any members of the public here that would like to make a comment about infrastructure?
Would it be okay if they at least introduce themselves with the department there? And I recognize some of them, but not all of them.
We can do that.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely. Are there any other public comments or requests? Okay, then let's, Infrastructure Committee, if you guys would be so kind as...
RC Michael Brody.
I'm Michael Brody Bissett. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Public Works.
I'm Andrew Darn. I am the engineering technician for Public Works.
And Fraser, Engineering Aid.
Probably...
Dave Powell, Chief Plant Operator, or Pollution Control Plant.
John Ruff, environmental manager, and I got the flu, so...
He's staying in the corner, and that's where he's going to stay. Okay, we have 3 items on the agenda. I think the most pressing right now, not that the others are unimportant, is the issue that was tabled for several weeks, actually, which is the reauthorization of the SHPO grant for the Saranac River Trail. And members of the council had asked if you all could find other ways to mitigate the cost associated with the city's share of that grant. And if there's anything you can do to address that, then that would be wonderful, although you made no promises. I understand that last meeting. Would anyone like to address that, or Joe just want to pass it off? John, do you want to talk about it at a distance?
Give you the overview, and then...
But actually, I'm just joking, but we need for the public's. Everybody here has had a flu shot? What?
The final solution.
Do you have the flu? Oh.
Kicking his butt.
Good.
I know. So, since last week's meeting, a few things have occurred. The engineers' estimates have been reviewed. Different bridge manufacturers have been contacted. We also had a conference call with the Department of Transportation and Design Engineer Stantec. And finances have been reviewed with Richard. And we discussed with Stantec the possibility for the city to use some in-house resources for construction inspection and learn that they're open to the concept. What we've also learned is that the engineers' estimates for the 2 bridges that are proposed under Phase 2 are based on information from a specific bridge manufacturer that was specified by SHPO. And so we feel the bridge estimates are valid for this point in the project. Stantec's tried to get SHPO to allow the use of a less expensive bridge type without success. DOT has confirmed that getting the SHPO to change the bridge type would basically be a no-go. But the DOT, the bridges have to be approved by DOT, and there's at least 4, maybe 5 approved manufacturers. And at least one of the other DOT approved manufacturers has been contacted. It appears that the actual bid prices for the bridges could be significantly lower than the engineer's estimate. Can't guarantee it, but what it does is it gives us a little more confidence that the $470,000 we're talking about might actually come in lower. But again, we're not going to know till we get bids.
And that's beyond, I mean, your best estimate, without having the piece of paper in front of me, you had done all kinds of crunching and you came up with $94,000 if everything were ideal and rainbows
Yeah,
and
if the
unicorns
contingency
came
and all that
together.
kind of stuff, and if we had a 50% savings in the construction inspection.
Right.
Just to kind of give you a flavor for how things could improve, with the caveat that they could get worse. But if the bid prices come back in higher. So really that's the key. What are contractors actually going to bid? They're going to talk to these different bridge manufacturers, they're going to play them off each other, they're going to look at their means and methods and see how inexpensively they can do it, because that's how they win the bid. So those kind of things are in our favor and give us this higher confidence level, but we've agreed that, we're not in a position where we can say, you're definitely going to get those savings. But a couple other things. So we confirming that the engineer is going to specify these approved manufacturers in the bid, so it's not just one company that thinks they get the job and then we get stuck at a higher price. So there's going to be competition there amongst the grid manufacturers. We're still looking at ideas for reducing costs. Mike's and Andrew and Adam have had some ideas, and they might shave some of the costs, but not to the point where we think it's going to be a game changer. And we're still working on this in-house inspection part. It's not clear how much inspection needs to be done by certified bridge inspectors and DOT certified folks versus how much we've got, number one, the technical capacity to do in-house, but then also the time with the amount of resources that we have. So, but bottom line is getting the actual bid prices will put us all in a position to really better understand, all right, what are the actual costs going to be? So right now we're saying, oh, you could be looking at $470,000 in additional borrowing, but that's almost the whole contingency that's built in. So that's kind of a variable number. So it's getting those bid prices. Which the next question becomes, okay, how do we do that? There needs to be a supplemental agreement to Stantec's contract to finish the design. It's $56,000. $23,000 of which can be paid for by CHIPS. So it's a net $33,000. And what that'll do for the total project cost spent to date, it'll put it in the maybe $535,000 range, okay? Which we get the bids, so we spend that money, get the bids, and then oh my gosh, it's way more than we thought, and you want to pull the plug, you're out $535,000, which is less than what's been bonded already. So it won't increase the amount of money that's been bonded already, nor the bond payment that's built into the tax rate already. So that, to me, is significant because it doesn't require a change in the capital project appropriation. It doesn't change the amount of money that's been bonded to date in order to get this really valuable information to make a much more educated decision, if that makes sense. So did I explain that right, guys?
I think also with the lower, if you do end up coming in at lower bridge costs, then the contingency you would have to add to that is also commensurately lower, which also helps your bottom line somewhat too. And then, so SHPO's got a big interest in one of the bridges, right? Is that the...
Correct, the Saranac Street replacement.
Right, so couldn't that mean they have more flexibility on the second bridge, even if they held to their guns on the first bridge?
Our understanding, based on discussions today, was that the Durkee Street Bridge is actually the less expensive bridge type, and the one that SHPO is requiring is the more expensive bridge type. So I don't know if
so
that...
it wouldn't save us much.
Right,
Yeah.
but as we progress through the project, the percentage usually reserved for contingency becomes smaller because you have more and more information. So when you're at planning level, your contingency is 25 to 40% because you just don't have enough information. Once you get bids, that contingency then gets squeezed down into the, maybe the 5 to 10% range. So getting the bids puts us in position to really have solid construction numbers and then be working within the normal variability of a construction project, which is 5 to 10%.
Adam, you had talked about DOT working with us to try to mitigate costs because of their interest in maintaining this project. Can you speak any more to that? No?
They would work with us for time, and if we did, we have to reduce scope in any way. They'd have to reevaluate the project, similar to the money back.
Okay. How do you guys feel? Do you have any questions for John or Anyone?
I feel satisfied. In fact, I've been really thankful and impressed by the level of analysis that your team has done and all the players involved. I really appreciate that. And, you know, I think I indicated last week that it was kind of like my predilection to say we'd made this decision, we'd made this commitment, and for all the good reasons that Jesse Filer outlined for us, that we're kind of duty bound. But I've been enlightened in terms of the number of contingencies that you need to probably take into account before you embark on such a project, and I think we'll all be better able to in the future handle these situations. I think it'll be an asset to the city. I'm excited for it to go forward.
Mike?
John and his team did exactly what I'd hoped they would. They went back, sharpened their pencils one more time, and tried to look for some additional pitfalls or benefits, and they've done a tremendous job, and I thank all of you for doing that. So I have a confidence level that we should go forward with this now. There is one unanswered question, and that is something Colin mentioned last week about possible other sources of funding, and I don't know if we should talk about that now or if we should talk about that during the regular meeting or even.
Well, we only have 15 more minutes before the regular session, so we can talk about it when that item comes on the table. We put it back on the table, we can talk about it then.
Okay.
Can I give you a very quick perspective on that? I think you're giving the council a lot more comfort that the worst case isn't going to be nearly so bad as what we thought a week ago, and a best case can actually still be quite good and even in under expectations. But if you all approve it tonight, I don't think our work stops on this. I think we can look for additional funding. I think there's an avenue to try to package this with other bridge programs within our area. So I'm actually optimistic that we can even do better than the best case that you come up with tonight. So that gives me a lot of comfort too for other sources of funding.
Thank you.
Just want to make one comment. Snappy dressing does not defeat the flu. Okay, any other questions? Joshua, did you have any questions?
Richard in the back.
Yes?
One question that Adam brought to my attention this week from old correspondence that I picked up between Mayor Callen, myself, and Kevin about a 1996 agreement with NICEAG that says that if the city decides to install a 13th Street bridge, that NICEAG has the right to hang a gas pipe on it. And they would pay the city $40,000 for that. It's dated consistently with the other gas pipe that they put on the Webb Island Bridge back in 1996. So it was one question I think that Adam raised, and I think he sent out documentation to LSU about it. I'm just wondering.
You
how
said
that
Durkee
changes.
Street?
Yeah, from the NICEAG project.
So I don't know if that changes the cost of the bridge because of the weight of the gas pipe or how that would fit in. And I just thought that was another discussion on who we were going to hear about tonight.
I reached out to NICEAG, and they actually responded today. They have no interest at this time in putting a gas pipe on top.
Oh, okay.
There's also kind of questions whether or not the agreement is still valid, being 22 years old, and whether or not the $40,000 is commensurate with today's value.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
But if they were to want to do it, the size of the gas line would be negligible to any bridge that we would have, so we wouldn't have to beef up the size of the bridge with anticipation for
Okay.
gas.
NICEAG would still require an engineering study and certification. They only want an 8-inch steel main if they were to do it at all, but at this time, they have no desire for it.
You know what? I just have an aside, and I will make it very short.
Go ahead.
I really am glad we're having these kinds of meetings, and I hope the public gets a chance. I mean, I wish there were a way to hear you guys better so that because they're live streamed, I think it's really helpful to the public to see what's going on in our city and what a great staff we have.
Okay,
I want to say one thing. So the important decision is to authorize the
SHPO.
supplemental agreement 3
Mm-hmm.
with Stantec for $56,000.
They're split to two, it's supplemental agreement number 3 and Pine Street supplement. So those two together get us final bid documents, including fully designed Pine Street reconstruction and the Saranac River.
but that's not on the agenda.
Right.
Did you
So-
want to put that
Yes,
on
we'd
the
like to
agenda
keep it
for,
2 and 4 it
yes,
tonight.
okay.
The quicker we get going on that, the
Thank you
quicker
for-
we can get them moving.
God.
The SHPO agreement's important, from the perspective of how the public's viewing what's going on. And SHPO's been putting some pressure
Yeah.
on us. But, yeah, the Stantec supplemental agreements are the time critical
Could
from our
you-
perspective.
Could you offer that, the wording for that, so that we can get that on for initial consideration?
Sure.
And then someone can offer to invoke Rule 4
Want me to
to...
do it verbally?
Just don't breathe on
No.
anybody.
No?
Write it out.
Yeah,
Just give a draft and
You ever
we'll.
see my handwriting? I'll go type it out, how's that?
that's good.
Okay,
Just
good.
want to leave.
Thank you so
Email
much,
it,
John.
email on your-
Thank you,
What's
John.
that?
Did you want to talk about Main Street first?
We've got some other...
I'm sorry, I'm just blurting.
Who's running this?
I don't
meeting?
know. You are.
Back off, Armstrong.
Who's flying this airplane
Okay.
right now? Okay, so, wrong thing. Number 2 is we have a request for laboratory services at the WPCP. I'm not going to read it all, but it's $20,000 for BOD, CBOD. It's stuff that we need to make things right. Who knows what this is?
So, Ansel's calling, so you went back to the soul members to get a tour.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
my name's Janelle Henry, and I work in the laboratory. And so the item D bid, BOD and CBOD, is for the oxygen demand that's on our wastes. And basically, that's a general contaminant that we have to make sure we're in compliance with for the DEC. And the lowest bid went to Endyne, and we're familiar with them, we have a good relationship with them. And then the other 78 items are other analytical parameters that were required to be monitored for the state through our laboratory, but also for the plant. But also things like analytes that are tested out at our ultralight test wells and other properties that we monitor. And so we combined all of those onto an item. There's 78 total items or analytes, and ALS Environmental won that bid, or came in at the lowest price. And we have not worked with them before, so this will be a new laboratory for us.
Okay, but that's what you're recommending. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then we have a request to advertise for the main road reconstruction. Flu boy.
Good boy. So basically, this project can be repackaged from last year, and it's to not do Main Road North right now, it's just do Main Road South. The road conditions in Main Road South are such that it does need to be reconstructed. There's been concern about the AC pipe water lines out there, so part of the project will be replacing that AC pipe with new ductile iron pipe. It'll include sidewalks and usual landscaping and stuff that goes along with that.
I saw that in your description that you were going to use a different system to replace the pipe, and then you decided against it.
Yeah, we were going to do what's called an ad alternate, which would be a cured-in-place pipe.
Right.
As we talked about it more, looked at it more closely, we decided that since this is a technology that's new to us, that there would be better candidates for trying this technology than Main Road South. We'll do Main Road South, get it done nice and clean, hopefully, And over the next 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to evaluate the AC pipe report and some road conditions report and pick a section of water main that looks like it'd be the best candidate for trying this technology. So we can get a better feeling for how it works for us, but how to set up the temporary water systems and the excavations that need to be performed in the taps. As you know, I was just at a conference just last week, and almost everybody, especially the big cities with old systems, are using this cured-in-place pipe as one of their big tools for replacing their sewer mains in particular. People haven't done it as much with water mains, so really, because setting up these temporary water systems can be a little funky, but we've got some what we feel are good ideas for that. So, bottom line is that anticipated test we're going to still do, we're just not going to do it as part of the main road project. So,
Rochelle, this is your chance
Sounds
to
good.
take over the
No, it sounds good. I have confidence in the evaluation that's been done, and I appreciate the attempt to reduce costs and to scale down the project so that it works for us
and
financially.
tomorrow I'll write up a little summary where we're
That's
at. We'll get
good.
out to the homeowners
We'll
association,
go,
the other
yep.
affected folks, and
They will appreciate that. They really will. And John, really, your visit there before was very much appreciated.
I know one of the big advantages with the infrastructure division is you're trying to work together across departments. How much of this is now being done in-house as opposed to what it was originally planned?
the project, it's similar to Saranac River Trail. We're going to be, the construction's not going to be done in-house, but the inspection of the construction, we're looking at, all right, what can we do in-house and what can't we? So we're going to be taking a look at how much staff we have, what their other time demands are, where Saranac River Trail's at, and if there's a possibility to use in-house staff for those construction inspections, then we will.
But just getting the project together, would the procedure have been to use an outside engineer to do all of this preliminary work? I mean, or has the in-house process kind of taken that place?
From a design perspective, it's still being contracted.
Okay.
It's a project that's of the scope and magnitude where there's no
Right.
in-house
Okay.
resources to do that. But the actual construction inspection services can be more than the design costs. Because you've got to have somebody there,
I see.
sometimes every day, all day. Some of it's really technical in nature and needs somebody that really knows the specifics of some construction technique, but sometimes it's just keeping track of what contractors are there, what they're doing, and those kind of things. So we're trying to figure out where our staff fits and where it doesn't, but also maintaining that continuity of responsibility with the designer. So they have to be comfortable with our staff, the way we've been trained and what we're doing in the field. So at the end of the day, they can sign off that the project was built properly, or hopefully, if there's a problem, that it's really on the contractor and the engineer, and it's not something that we messed up in the field,
I
or
see.
somebody could try to muddy the waters and say we messed up in the field.
I
So
see.
it's maintaining that continuity of responsibility is really, really important.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, John.
Thanks, John.
Anyone else have any questions about anything regarding infrastructure?
No, I don't have to blurt out anything now.
Okay. Anyone from the infrastructure committee have anything to say? You're all done.
I'd like to have something.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's not in reference to any of the items on the agenda.
Just to interrupt real quick, we should move that slate of the agenda items to the main body of the council through committee.
So make a motion to
So make, yeah, motion.
recommend.
Second.
Okay.
But I just wanted to let everybody
All
know.
in favor?
Well,
No.
it's actually just a committee member.
It's just a committee member.
Oh.
It's just you
You have
and
to move.
Make the motion.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You're on.
Sorry.
Thank you, Dean.
Just want to let everybody know, I've officially put in my retirement papers in New York State. I'm going to be leaving on the 29th. Will be my, well, 28th of March will be my last day.
Oh my goodness.
So after 37 and a half years working at the Water Pollution Control Plant, I'm calling it a career.
Oh,
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for
for
everything
your
you've done.
service.
So we're in the pipeline to get a lot of things changed
Yeah.
and get everybody up to speed in what I do, so.
Right,
It's a process, and
Yeah.
we're working diligently at it, and
I'm sure.
I hope that it all works out. So, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you,
service.
Bill.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anything else from the infrastructure committee members? Any old business? New business? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. And Peter. And I'm glad you made it home safely.
I pulled up, opened the car door, said to Carla, okay, you take my father back, and I'll call you when I need to be picked up. Left Latham at 2:35.
My goodness, what a day.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Was the roads good?
The roads were great. Worst part were the tractor trailers.
Did I show you already?
We got a couple minutes, right?
Yeah, I got it.
But I didn't show you.
Saturday, probably happy to go there an hour later. Nothing for the rides.
No, that's all right. No big deal.
7 meters of ball grass.
Oh, you're not going to tell me what you called?
This afternoon.
No big deal. I'll show you.
Okay.
Just gotta find the email. Oh, that's not where she sent it. Email. Look. Can't wait to see.
I hate this.
I know, I do too.
You okay?
I'm okay. Why shouldn't I be out there?
Well, I mean, just feeling good, everyone's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just,
You're just gonna think about it. Yeah, it's just showing you.
It's a shame.
Maybe your attention.
Who is that? That is, right now her name is Chalupa.
That's gonna change.
Oh, it's changing so fast. Beagle boxer. Oh, 9 weeks old.
So 5 will have our work session.
Petfinder.com. There are no dogs around here. Raymond found her for me. I'd have to go down South of Albany next week to pick her up. A year ago.
change in your family.
A year ago.
It's going to react.
Who cares? They're cats.
They're just so
They just sit there.
independent. Yeah. You need a buddy.
Oh, isn't she beautiful? Oh, little chalupa.
She's gorgeous.
No, actually, Max, when Brienne gave me Max, my kitten,
I don't know if we'll have much for work session.
but she had named them through the alphabet. And Max was the last one. So that was really cool. So he's my first chalupa.
Did I tell you that my 17-year-old Pomeranian, we had to put it in bed? Down just because he was declining, dementia.
Just a little league.
How old?
We,
Yeah.
17. Yeah. We had thought it was time to do it, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to it. Wow. But then.
We lost a couple of people, lost one.
And if something would have happened when he was in like the throes of awfulness, that would have been awful.
Oh, yeah, to do it by yourself.
Well, I mean, it was just, I knew I couldn't take care. I could get up 5 times a night with that dog. That was fine. Not a time to take care of
No.
him, so.
Getting up 5
My
times a
mom,
night to take
it's
him to the
funny.
bathroom.
with the making 2 appointments and calling back, my parents, it was like maybe 8 or 9 years ago, put up a massive kitchen addition that I helped design for them. And
Big
there's a
deal
beautiful pine tree that had to go. And my parents made the contractors leave twice. Or no, it was the excavation company. She called
wouldn't let them do
She
it?
wouldn't let them do it. They came.
Yeah.
She sent them away. They came. She sent them away. They were like, if you do this way again, we're not coming back. It's hard.
It was so beautifully done.
Pine tree, Pomeranian.
Yeah.
Yep. So you did it there.
Yeah.
I know, I
Did
have
you
done
cremate
that.
it?
We didn't.
You look pretty sharp for a guy who just drove up the I-87.
I just told Mike, I left Latham at 2:35.
Oh, yeah? Did Mike ready to start?
Yeah. 17 years. It's nuts.
He was a good dog, though.
Dave's a classy guy.
Yeah. He gave me the tour of the, gonna miss you. You deserve to retire, though. It's a good gig.
I think I'll try.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll probably roll on me.
You'll be active, I know. You got a bucket list, huh? Yeah.
Well, just after 5, you're all ready to begin for the work session. Let's call the work session to order. This is an opportunity to have extended discussion for any of the items on the agenda tonight. So please.
Just regarding item 7C, I believe it is, 7C, do have a representative here from the Little League who, I don't know, Zeke, if you want to come up and just explain a little bit about.
Well, I'm gonna have to get up and talk, but thank you everybody for your time. I'm here tonight representing Plattsburgh Little League. As a board last week, we brought to a vote to hopefully name, with your guys' approval, the field at Penfield Park that we use for Little League now, Hector Duquette Field. Hector's a long-standing member of this community. From a baseball standpoint, he has been a coach in Plattsburgh Little League for over 34 years. We actually now have coaches that coach in Plattsburgh Little League that play for Hector. So, you know, him and his family have done a tremendous amount for the growth of baseball in our area. Continue to do so. And I think the one phrase that really sums things up when we were talking about it as a group at our meeting was, you know, oftentimes we wait till after somebody is gone to honor them.
Yeah.
I certainly think that this is an honor that Hector really deserves, his family deserves. Excuse me, I grew up playing baseball with his son Jeff. I played baseball with his son Gary. You know, Hector is now a coach, an assistant coach for the Clinton County Mariners. Gary's 74 years old. 73. You know, 73 years old. He'd still be playing men's league baseball if Gary would let him, but he doesn't let him do that anymore. So, you know, really, we as a league would like to, you know, honor Hector with this. Our plans would be to have a ceremony for him on opening day, and it would really just entail us as Little League purchasing a sign, which we would do so, similar to the one that is over at Fox Hill, Gerald Burdo Field. So, you know, I hope that it would, you know, have the council's support. Great man, great family, and well-deserved.
Thanks, Zeke.
Thank you.
And that field currently doesn't have a name. It's in Melissa Penfield Park, but it doesn't have a name currently.
The field itself doesn't have a name to it.
Yes, currently, and that was something that we also discussed as a board too. You know, we do not want to do anything, you know, that would hinder the memory of Melissa Penfield. You know, the complex is called Melissa Penfield Park. The larger baseball field is Lefty Wilson Field, and this is, you know, really just referred to as Little League field.
Right.
So, it's, we think it would be great, with the sport that we had last year with the lights, the Little League field, and, this will be our first full season where the kids get to play a full slate of games underneath the lights. To be able to incorporate that with honoring somebody that's done so much for our league. So, we look forward to the Friday night lights at the Duke, as we've already named it as a nickname. So, but yeah, so we certainly want to keep that intact as far as, Penfield Park, and, just have our own little spot for Hector.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess everybody must have seen Anne de la Chapelle's email in support of Matt Miller as the appointee to the library board. I've had the pleasure of meeting Matt. Consider him already really someone who wants to be active in our community, and I think we'll be lucky to have him. We can't start early, huh?
No.
Well, can I just say something?
Please.
I was pleased to see the support for the snow removal law as stated in today's editorial in the Press Republican. And I'll reiterate my thanks to all who helped facilitate the improvement in this law, as well as the policies that will support it and the procedures. And I listed them. I do want to point out, just because somebody might be watching, that the way in which the editor wrote appeared to me to only address the snow removal charges. But I want to just state publicly that any violator who receives a notice of violation of fine will be fined. So that was, I think, a really important change that people needed to be able to understand. And I just wanted to set the record straight.
Thank you. The snow removal, the end of the snow event ended at what, 10 o'clock this morning? So there then is a 24-hour period running till 10 o'clock tomorrow morning before, well, give people ample time to clear their sidewalks.
Yeah. I, on the way to pick up my grandkids to go to school today, saw coming down off of the bridge, it was wonderfully cleared already over the Broad Street Bridge, but there was this area next to the Keystone Building on Broad Street, and there was a kid up to his waist in the snow. And I almost stopped. I almost pulled over and took a picture. You know, it's like, here's the poster child. Please clean your sidewalks so kids can walk safely to school.
I also did this morning at 7 o'clock, actually saw sidewalks and walkways being plowed along Route 9.
Yeah.
And I think it was actually our city crew at work that early in the morning.
I was actually walking yesterday in the storm. I didn't have transportation to get home from an appointment, and it was being cleared on New York Road, you know, during the storm as well. I know you have to keep up with it, but that was great.
You didn't clear the steps on my deck, and my cats had to go down through the snow. 8 inches. They're little cats.
roads look really good this afternoon. They were not so good first thing in the morning around 6 o'clock, but you know, early you guys got the work done, and I think the sun did the rest, so everything was in good shape today, as far as I can tell, wherever I travel.
Although my only complaint was that I went out and snowblowed about 7 o'clock last night, and then about 10:30, the plow came by. I went out and shoveled the end of the driveway because I was leaving early this morning, lifted up my garage door, and sure enough, the plow went by again.
Thorough.
Thanks, Mike.
They have your address.
Very thorough.
How are we doing on salt and sand for the?
Still have to worry about the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just for any members of the public who were here, I was very pleased with the additional information that we got as a result of the report about the Saranac River Trail bridges during the infrastructure committee meeting. And I think John's going to type up the amendment, right? So it can go forward. Yeah. Thank you, Beth. That's so timely. Thank you, Adam.
So with that qualification, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So these two documents that you may decide to consider in this evening are to continue with the engineering for the Saranac River Trail, and those of you who may not have been here earlier for the discussion, I think the sense of this group is that you have the wherewithal to continue the approval of the Saranac River Trail bridges based on the new information that the engineers have been able to work out over the past week. Any further discussion you'd like to have on that item? Councilor Ansel wasn't here for some of that discussion, so.
Yeah, I'd love to be informed.
It's all good.
It's all good? That's good for me.
The engineering infrastructure division went back, spoke to the principal engineer, the Stantec, DOT, the granting agencies, and discovered some leeway in alternative bridge suppliers that could bring the cost down. But by bringing the cost down also will bring the contingency down, which is one of the things we were asked to fund last week. They also there are more ways to do things in-house through construction, inspection, to the point where optimistically or hopefully, maybe even reasonably hopefully, the city would not be on the hook for any additional investment beyond which we've already agreed to in the past. So that's
very good.
Quite good news. And we also discussed alternative funding sources and ways to package this portion of the trail addition to other initiatives as well, so we may be able to pool funds and make it more affordable yet. Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
Very good news. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Should we have just a 15-minute recess?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can run through reports if you wanted to.
Would you like to run through reports? Yeah. If you like, we could do our various liaison and council reports. Get that out of the way. Sure. Let's begin with city infrastructure. Councilor Casper.
Well, as Mary just outlined, the hoped-for savings on the construction phase 2 of the Saranac River Trail, hence the 2 resolutions that we have in front of us. Also, we had a report. Well, everybody's gone. Help me out, John. BOD, COPD, Janelle's report.
Biochemical oxygen demand.
Yeah.
What's the second acronym?
COPD.
No.
See, that's funny. That was funny. Something like that. It was simply a purchase, $18,000 and I think $20,000 for approval.
For the lab services.
Right, for the lab services, correct. And then the last item, sorry, I'm looking at all these agenda. Where's
The main road.
oh yeah, Main Road. Could you speak briefly about that? Advertising for Main Road reconstruction.
Okay, so it's advertising for the reconstruction of Main Road South. It'll include ductile iron water main replacement, sidewalks on both sides, and the requisite landscaping that typically goes along with that. So we're expecting that because the project has been divided from the whole north and south, the cost will be less. And again, we're also looking at ways of doing some of the construction inspection services in-house.
What about the repaving? Repaving.
Of Main Road South?
Main Road South.
Yeah, that's part of the reconstruction.
Right, but a total repavement, right? Not just the strip.
It's not just a mill and fill, if that's what you're talking about.
No, I mean, but you're gonna take off the whole road and put it back on again.
Yeah, it'll be
That's
complete
right.
curb reconstruction,
Yes, yes.
sidewalk, yes.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
That complete your report?
It does.
I skipped over governance, Councilor Casper, or Councilor Park.
Had a great meeting last week. Councilor Armstrong and I are working on getting owners of the various taxi companies together to get a conversation started, just to vet ideas, try to figure out what could be the best course of action in regards to a rate increase, and that's pretty much it. Do you have anything you can think of?
Well, we're also talking about the farmer's market. We've met a little bit on our own with Sylvia because those decisions will need to be upcoming. I can't remember what else.
You're having ongoing discussion about the open government initiative as well?
Right, we're meeting with the mayor on Tuesday about that.
Thank you. Finance and budget, Councilor Kelly?
I believe our next meeting is scheduled for next Thursday. So I'd like to get together with Mr. Marks and my colleague to discuss that meeting and plan an agenda. We'll do that tentatively on Tuesday if that works with everyone's schedule. And I'd also like to ask my fellow council members again tonight, if you have any finance issues you'd like to bring to the table, that would be a great place to do it. And if we have any spending resolutions, that would also be a good place to discuss that as well. So,
thank you.
That's it.
Councilor Dowdle can't make it tonight. Councilor Armstrong for the public library.
Meeting with Ann. Nothing to report.
You have an appointment. We'll be making an appointment to your board tonight.
Yep.
And Councilor Ensel for the municipal lighting.
We will have our first meeting of the year next week of the board following our regularly scheduled meeting.
And it sounds like that may be quite a long meeting. There's an awful lot of interesting business.
Great coffee.
Thank you. Would any councilors like to discuss any other reports or initiatives or bring up any new business? We'll have another opportunity to do that later on the agenda as well.
Yeah, right. No, but I'd like to take a break and go get a glass of water.
Why don't we have a 10-minute recess then? Thank you all.
No?
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Bruce, are you? 10-minute break? Thank you. make a speech up there?
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Isn't it? The infrastructure division did a nice job on
Oh, come on. Nobody asked me. Well, I shouldn't serve on it anyway.
So where's Bruce Lawson? I should say hi to him.
I couldn't believe it.
Wait, hold on a second. There's no way to find out. Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not on there anymore. Yeah, I think you're right.
But now I'm.
But I just
agree
totally
too.
blanked. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, that's.
So
I guess there's.
Well, I talked to him. I gave those guys a heads up.
which is good.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, they can say. Just so they don't get stuck.
Find out. So I'll talk to you afterwards.
Same day. Really around.
It's hard. I mean,
Market for the gas all over the city. So anytime there's a bridge across the Sherman River or anything, let's fire a pipeline on. If you have any questions, 1996.
yes.
So that's the first time.
Yes.
But everything else, if you have any questions, just give me a call.
Hi, Joe. All right. Who? Yeah, I do. Yeah. I don't think so. I win. Me. I know. I appreciate it, and I have gratitude for the sentiment. No way. Oh, come on. Oh, I didn't see that coming. Yeah, it's the same.
Bill, how are you?
Yeah, right, right. No, you don't. You really don't. Yeah, here. Hang on. Let me write it down. I asked him if I could talk about it, he said no. Still, even though he sent this, still feels like he's got to protect my religious power. Let me talk now. I mean, I already told you. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He actually changed his mind. He said he had text message. He said, I'm sorry, I'm just today.
But yeah, it's not going to be
Another signature? Absolutely. I bet I would have caught that.
Well, I got the email back, the way the email is forwarded. Now everybody's going all over the place. That's why I'm going I know there's a 200 chapter.
That's right, they're not doing anything like that.
That's why I was just I've been trying to call the developer. So many times he hasn't responded to my calls.
I'm going to ask Joe.
Like that.
Looks like you're Happy New Year.
There must have to be more. So it's just going to be nice.
4:30 Tuesday, Mike?
Whatever works for you.
But yeah. 4:30. That works for you too.
I'd have trouble making it by 4, but I could definitely make
4:30? 4:30 works.
Tuesday.
And that's Richard? Hey, Richard? 4:30 on Tuesday? Does that work for you? To meet with Michael? Okay.
Thanks, Peter.
Well, let's begin the common council for tonight. The Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Reed.
Present.
Councilor Armstrong.
Here.
Councilor Kelly.
Here.
Councilor Dowdle. Councilor Ensel.
Here.
Councilor Casper.
Here.
Councilor Kretzer.
Here.
I guess I'll just make a couple of notes. We've got some appointments to boards that you'll hopefully have endorsed tonight. I'm very excited to offer. And, you know, I have to say I'm incredibly pleased with the effectiveness of the committee structure that we've been working with. The opportunity to have half hour or an hour and a half at times of in-depth conversation with our experts, and I think just in seeing how we've been able to resolve going ahead with the Saranac River Trail Bridge projects over the past week, and your involvement in that just really shows to me that that committee structure really is paying dividends in the analysis and participation that I'd hope so. Kudos to you all. I think you've really done some great work for the city in that, and I appreciate all your efforts on that. That's all I have to say tonight.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the Common Council held on February 1st, 2018 are approved and placed on file among the public records of the City Clerk's office.
Moved by Councilor Casper, second by Councilor Kretzer. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Resolved that the payrolls of the various departments of the city of Plattsburgh for the week ending February 7th, 2018 in the amount of $95,075.67 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and the city clerk are hereby empowered and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Councilor Kelly, second by Councilor Armstrong. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Resolved that the reports as listed are hereby ordered received, and any written reports are placed on file among the public records of the city clerk's office.
Moved by Councilor Cressler, second by Councilor Ensel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Resolved that the bills voted by the common council for the week ending February 9th, 2018 in the amount of $633,906.67 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and the city clerk are hereby authorized and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Councilor Armstrong, second by Councilor Ketzer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. This is the opportunity for any individuals to please come and address the council on any issues on the agenda tonight. There will be another public comment period at the end of the meeting as well for other issues. Issue on the agenda, please.
Just wanted to say I'm very happy that the city and the council are working hard to still try to find other money and funding for the Saranac Bridge project, and I think that's really important. And because Rochelle mentioned, I just want to say kudos to the city on snow removal for the roads. I lived in other cities, and although people might complain, we have a really good system in place now that we have the amber lights, and I've witnessed where the police actually ticket and the cars are removed. The only thing I would say is that Broad Street Bridge, for some reason at 11 o'clock, it still wasn't cleared, and there was a blind man walking. I actually gave him a ride uptown because he couldn't maneuver. He was going like a knee-deep snow. So it asked the city to maybe clear that sooner if possible, because a lot of people use that. And the ends of the sidewalks have always been a problem. I still see that because I walk all through downtown and you know, around South Catherine Gardens, and the end of the sidewalks, everybody say kind of thing, it's not my corner or whatever. I don't know how the city has addressed that, or have you thought about that in the plan, because I haven't been privy to that, but we're still having issues. There's still areas that aren't cleared, so I'd ask the city to look at that. But that's it for what's on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
Thanks, Carol.
Any other individuals like to address the council on items on the agenda tonight? Seeing none, we can continue, please.
Motion to remove 7A from the table.
So moved.
By Councilor Casper, second by Councilor Crester. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now we have a discuss the actual issue itself.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council approves accepting funds for EPF grant for City of Plattsburgh Saranac Street Bridge project.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading and move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Crester, second by Councilor Casper. Discussion. I think there's a quite thorough discussion during the committee earlier and in the work session. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council approves contract number 2017-14 laboratory services at Water Pollution Control Plant be awarded as listed below. Appendix D, BOD, CBOD testing awarded to Endyne for a lump sum of $20,800. Appendix C, contract for 78 other items awarded to ALS Environmental for $18,867.
Moved by Councilor Armstrong, second by Councilor Kretzer, or Casper, pardon me. Discussion?
It's COPD.
No, it's not.
Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, by the Board of Directors of the Plattsburgh Little League, therefore the Common Council approves renaming the Melissa Penfield Park Little League Field to Hector Duquette Field.
Moved by Counselor Ansel, second by Counselor Kelly. Discussion?
I'd just like to say I appreciate Zeke, you and Gary coming and presenting this to us, and I think it's an honor well deserved.
Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Ansel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved that in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves permission to advertise for bids for main road reconstruction.
Moved by Counselor Armstrong, don't even have to look. Second by Counselor Ansel. Discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Ansel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
I'd like to this time introduce Local Law P2 of 2018, a local law amending Chapter 86, Sections 2 and 3 of the City Code of the City of Plattsburgh with regard to number of planning board members and appointments, term, and quorum, and set a public hearing date of Thursday, February 22nd, 2018 at 5 p.m. in the council chambers. I'd also like to hand down the appointment of Matthew Miller to the library board beginning on February 9th, 2018 and expiring June 30th, 2022. And ask for roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Ansel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
And I'd like to hand down the reappointment of William Ferris to the planning board for a 5-year term to begin on February 9th, 2018, expiring February 8th, 2023, and ask for roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Ansel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved that in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves that the mayor is authorized to sign an agreement with New York the Bass Federation and Adirondack Coast Visitors Bureau to host a bass tournament on June 9th, 2018.
Moved by Counselor Kretzer and second by Counselor Ansel. Discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Ansel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
I believe there's no travel requests at this time. Resolutions for initial consideration. Counselor Casper?
I have 2 resolutions for initial consideration. The first is resolve the council agrees to the February 1, 2018 contract proposal with Stantec Consulting Services, Inc., Supplemental Agreement Number 3 for Saranac River Trail Phase 2 in an amount not to exceed $32,000 and authorizes the mayor to execute all necessary documents. The source of funds is Capital Project H5110.58.
I'd like to make a motion to implement Rule 4.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor of implementing Rule 4 and bringing this to the table for further discussion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any further discussion on the resolution? Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Ansel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
I have another resolution for initial consideration. Resolve, the council agrees to the January 24, 2018 contract proposal with Stantec Consulting Services, Inc., Pine Street reconstruction for Saranac River Trail Phase 2 in an amount not to exceed $23,000 and authorizes the mayor to execute all necessary documents. The source of funds is Capital Project H5110.58 and is expected to be reimbursed by CHIPS.
I'd like to make a motion to implement Rule 4.
Moved by
Second.
Counselor Kretzer, second by Counselor Armstrong. Discussion? All in favor of implementing Rule 4 and bringing this to the floor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion on the resolution? Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Ansel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Is there any other resolution for initial consideration? Seeing none, any additional council reports or any new business? Please, Councilor Casper.
I have some comments to make. I was thinking this morning, I think Joshua and I are the only ones who went to high school in this area. Am I correct? Did anybody else? I know you taught him.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
I'm freely admitted.
Sorry. Chief Lawless.
And I'm sorry.
Chief Lawless and I were talking about this last week, that, and I'm dating myself, he is a graduate of MAI as well as I am, although you were what class?
87.
Yeah, I was before this. Way before this. So I consider myself a native, and the proudest day of my life was when I beat Bruce Lawson by 3 votes to win this seat. And by the way, Joe, you have often reported it as 2 votes. It was 3, and Bruce knows that. I have been so happy to serve this city. I have been thrilled to serve this city. And I have been thrilled to work with all the city managers and all the city workers. I can't tell you how much I have learned from you. There is nothing, it's kind of like teaching composition. You never look at a sign the same way. You're always like, oh, the grammar's wrong. Now I'm driving on a street and I'm like, oh, that pothole, this pothole, and you know, and Mike Brody, when are you guys gonna get on that? And I know what you're doing, and it's hot. It's a hot patch, it's a cold patch, whatever. So I've learned a lot, and I have thoroughly enjoyed working with all of you, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate the efforts that you put into this city and what you endure for this city. Know that I definitely appreciate all the sacrifices you make. With that said, my first 3 years of service, I completely enjoyed the work I did. This past year, I have not enjoyed this work. And in fact, I feel, and I have felt often, that I have been complicit in some kind of tyranny of despair, that we don't have a vision of joy anymore, and looking forward to the city. And that's something that I want to be a part of, and I don't believe that I can any longer. So with that said, I am effective with the end of this meeting resigning from the council, and I hope to still be an active citizen in this city in a different capacity and to still serve. And I thank you all for your patience and your kindness. And with that said, thank you very much.
That's hard news for me, Becky. I've really enjoyed serving with you. I appreciate your knowledge, your heart, and I'm very sad.
Come see my puppy.
I will. I will.
Thank you, Michelle.
I'm sure I speak for everybody in that you've really made a huge contribution to this council, and those would be incredibly big shoes to fill. But we all appreciate all your hard work and your conscientiousness to the job.
Thank you. Would you like a motion to adjourn?
That would be most appropriate.
We may have some closing public comments still. But
Gotta do that.
are there any individuals like to please come address the council on any issue of mutual concern? Mr. Lawson.
I'd just like to say I really admire the job that Becky Casper has done. And you might think that's not easy for me to say. In fact, it's very easy for me to say. I think you've always done an outstanding job, and it's been a pleasure for me during the time that I worked here at City Hall, and also a pleasure just being a citizen to watch how you've handled yourself.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
And by the way, Mayor, if I'm sure you have to make an appointment to fill my seat until the election, I have a perfect candidate.
Mm-hmm. Any other individuals like to come please speak to the council on any issue of mutual concern?
Well, that came as a big shock. I can speak for a lot of residents. We are very concerned that the vacancy that you leave will not be filled by somebody as enthusiastic and concerned and diligent about the issues that face the city on a daily basis. And And although I don't know Bruce's capability in this realm, I would say that I would feel that I would be very happy if he was the one that would
Thank you,
go.
Karen.
You will be more than greatly missed, and this comes at a terrible time. I feel that part of this is due to the way that some of the decisions have been made and lack of transparency, so that I hope, as a long-term resident and original, born and bred in Plattsburgh, that maybe we look at this to work more together as a council to everybody's benefit. It doesn't serve anybody to work in little, segments. I originally came to speak at the end of the meeting about, I know that the city has just been awarded grant money from New York State to deal with the Underwood trailer park, and one of my concerns is that, I don't know how the funding will be distributed, but this trailer park has been a problem. This isn't the first time with flooding and other issues. So I don't know if the city can be reimbursed for the time and money that several of our departments, the police, the fire department, the building inspectors, retroactive from the time that they spent on dealing with this and moving forward. And obviously, I know that I understand that an engineer is going to be working with the owner on the owner's expense, I believe, to prevent this from continuing to reoccur. I know it's a natural disaster, but I do have a concern that trailers are close to the river and that this continue to be permitted. So although we can't forecast the future as far as natural disasters, I would ask that the city really speak to the engineer about looking at a future plan of layout so that we can avoid some of these problems in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
Thanks, Carol. Any other individuals, please come and address the council.
I just wanted to say on behalf of Plattsburgh Blue League, thank you for passing the resolution. The city's continued support of Plattsburgh Blue League, it means a lot to our organization. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you real quick, Becky. We've worked together a lot of years. You were my liaison, and I always appreciate your advocacy and your assistance and the fact-based logical approach you brought to things. So sorry to see you go, but you've earned it, so good luck with everything.
Thank you, John. No kisses.
All right. That's all better. That's all better.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, yes, I think we can entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved
So
by
moved.
Councilor Casper, second
Second.
by Councilor Armstrong. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Wenzel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Chris?
Yes.
Thank you all, and thank you, Councilor Casper.